What is going on, folks? It's NimbleThor here, and today we're going to check out Talion, which is the newest 3D fantasy MMORPG from Gamevil. But is it just yet another generic Korean MMO? It's time we find out today. So the game is in beta right now, which means that all accounts will be reset before the official launch, and the beta is slated to end June 5th. So you really don't have a lot of time if you want to play this game, but I've left the download links, as I always do, in the description box down below. Just be aware that there's a 1.5 gigabyte patch even after you've installed the game. So consider this a bit of an early preview at what I think might just be the most gorgeous mobile game I've seen so far, with the most in-depth character creation section of any mobile MMORPG, but more on that really soon. And with that said, let's just jump into what I like and what I dislike about this game. So first up, and I briefly mentioned this just before, the game looks, it looks fantastic. Just look at this. Look at the graphics here. It's really looking great, and this is not even on the fullest graphic settings because I wanted to be able to record this video with a decent frame rate. Even on the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus, this game is actually having a hard time after about an hour or so, which means the game could probably be optimized a little bit, but I expect that will happen after launch. It does require 3.5 gigabyte of free space though, but it does look great, so I do understand why it takes up so much space. And the character creation screen is amazing, where we can set up our character and we can really go into the nitty-gritty details of the face details, the legs, the chests, all of that good stuff. But it does suck that the classes and genders are locked. So for example, if we want to play as a rogue, just as we're playing as right now, we have to be female, which I just never really like that in any game. Why does it have to be locked? Why not just give us the option? I think it shows something about the game being made rather quickly, probably. That's really the only reason I could see why the developers wouldn't want to give us a choice, so they just lock it down. It's easier. They don't have to make the different skill animations for both male and female characters. I don't know. Do you guys have some opinions on that? Let me know in the comment section down below. But secondly, the UI is actually pretty decent, and it's not as cluttered as many other MMORPG games very quickly become. And another thing I really like is that we have this really neat world map up here that we can't open right now because we're in a dungeon, but it's looking really nice and allows us to see all the different NPCs, allows us to see all the different monsters, what the levels are, and we can simply tap a monster to automatically start moving to that monster. And I especially like that we also just have one menu. We can definitely go into that one, I think. Yes, here, as you guys can see, we have one menu from which we can do everything related to our character. You know, looking at the skills, looking at the backpack, going to the quests, and we can also see everything about the different sort of adventures, raids, bosses, stuff like that. We can go into growth, and we can see the different mounts that we have. We can go into the community part. We can go into the shop even. And yes, we can even go into the system settings, the mail, the warehouse, all of that good stuff from just one single menu. That is good UI, my friends. I think really well done on that to the Gamevil team. That's a big plus from my end. But let's get to the big one, and the one I'm sure you're all waiting to hear about, the auto system. Because yes, the auto system in Talion is the most elaborate one I've ever seen, and we're using it. We've been using it right now to complete this dungeon here, and as you guys could see, we finished it without any trouble whatsoever, even on auto mode, complete auto mode. I did not do anything in the gameplay that you just saw just before. So the combat takes place automatically, running to and from NPCs is done automatically, and new quests can even be started automatically. The only thing we need to do is tap the screen every once in a while to complete a quest, such as, for example, this one. As you can see right now, we can click complete, like that. So now we can start a new quest by simply tapping over here. We click accept, and we should start running automatically, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, let's use this dragon here to travel to the other area of the map. That's a nice thing as well. I mean, who doesn't like dragons, right? But for some, I know that this will be a huge turnoff. But from what I've seen so far, if you do enjoy these auto systems in these types of games, this is a really well-made, high-quality game. The main concern here is that the game will become so grindy that you're more or less forced to have the game open 24/7 if you want to be able to compete, level up, get enough resources. And I'm just really hoping that won't happen. If that does not happen, I think this could be a great game if you're into these types of games. Obviously, different players, different opinions, different personal, subjective preferences. Personally, I am having a hard time really figuring out, what to think about this game, because although the auto systems are grand, there are a lot of them, as you have seen already, there are so many interesting raids and bosses that we can go into, and some of them are actually rather difficult. The one we were in just before was really easy, but I went to one earlier where I actually died with the auto system on, so I had to go in there again with the manual mode in order to be able to defeat that. And we also have other types of raids or battles that we can go into. So if we go over here to RVR, you guys can see that we have this occupy mode here, which is a grand scale castle war, and it's really interesting. So we have to take over these bases here, and we have to defend them, and then Depending on how many bases we are able to defend, we get points every minute or so, and then after 12 minutes, the team or the alliance with the most points will actually win that war. That's a game mode where I think the auto system can't be used, and if that's the end game, and if we have more of those types of systems at the end game, then this could become a quite interesting game. Apart from that, there's also 20 versus 20 and 50 versus 50 PvP modes. And there's also a capture the flag, by the way, which is just 5 versus 5. But with so many systems, if the game doesn't become pay to win, it might just be a really great PvP game, honestly. And it's a game that you can easily play with your friends, because you can easily level up. You can just start the game on your phone. You don't even have to play it. Of course, that begs the question, why then have the grind in the first place? But and I know that's something, you know, that's been discussed many times. For example, over on the Android gaming subreddit. Why have these grindy systems then if you just have an auto system? Why not just go directly to the, you know, end game PvP that we're all talking about? Well, I think part of the reason why you can't do that is that the game needs some way to get us a bit attached to our characters. And even with an autoplay system, I feel like we're still getting a bit of that attachment that you have in MMORPGs. That has always been there in MMORPGs. Since the first MMORPGs ever released, they have been rather grindy, at least nearly all of them at least. Look at that, we got some wings here. That's nice. So I guess that's mostly cosmetic, although it did actually add some attack, it seems, and some skill attack. So it's not entirely cosmetic. That's interesting as well. I don't really like the look of them, but I guess it's okay. I guess it looks kind of epic though. We also have a small pet here, by the way, as you guys can see. That's one that we unlocked, and that also influences the attack. And that leads into the monetization, because during beta, there are no in-app purchases in the game. But it wouldn't surprise me if, for example, these pets or these, angel wings, stuff like that looks really awesome and epic, that most of that will be locked behind premium currency. And if that was to happen, I just really hope it won't influence the game too much, so that the items won't, have too much attack increase, for example. Because, an MMO really needs to be rather, relaxed in their monetization if they want the game to be competitive. So I'm expecting that we'll see XP doublers. I'm expecting we'll see weekly and monthly premium cards. That adds a bit of a stat boost. And then maybe something like health potions, stuff like that. The usual MMORPG monetization stuff. I just really hope we won't see items directly sold for premium currency, because that would surely suck. But it's a bit too early to say anything about that, so we can really just hope, because it's in beta and they disabled the monetization during beta. Probably a good idea though for them to do, because it gives them a chance to get some feedback from the players before moving on. One thing I really hope will be optimized is the game, because just overall the performance of the game on my phone, a Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus, it really runs the phone really hot after only about 30-40 minutes of gameplay. It becomes so hot that Tiny Little Games would be able to boil his cup noodles on it. Really hot. I'm hoping you're watching this, by the way, Tiny Little Games. And if not, guys, please someone send this video to Tiny Little Games. But yeah, it becomes really hot, all kidding aside. And actually to the point where I had to close the game because I was so worried about the heat of my phone. So that's probably something that can be fixed by limiting the developers, limiting the amount of resources that the game can take from the phone. And I do think that's going to be necessary. Hopefully that's something that can be fixed. Apart from that, there were a few translation errors, which I, of course, didn't like to see either. But then again, it is beta, so I'm expecting that most of that will be fixed as well. So overall, what do you guys think about this game? I think it's a decent game if you're into these types of games. I'm actually on the edge of saying that it might be a really good game if you're into these types of games. But if you're looking for a more retro, old school RPG experience, then you should probably check out something like Celtic Heroes that I covered recently here on the channel, because this is definitely not a retro MMORPG. This is very much a modern MMORPG. We have these systems that we expect to be in here. We have the auto systems, stuff like that, auto battle, auto movement, auto quest, all of that, good or bad stuff. Let's discuss that in the comment section, and thank you so much for sticking around till the end of this video. Are you excited for the launch of this MMORPG? Let me know down there in the comments, and until next time, guys, just keep gaming, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys around.